What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape Podcast, episode 211 with Mikel
And Tanyka.
where we have conversations on different topics. Today we're doing another special Prime Month episode. This is this will be our uh eighth episode of the month,
I
I
think
believe.
so. Yes.
Yes.
I think
And
seventh or eighth, which we'll figure it out.
yeah. I believe we have 7 episodes of the last one, and Tanika will recap the last 7
Yep.
for us.
So the first one we did was the celebrity activists in the AIDS epidemic, as
Yep.
well. We talked about celebrities living with AIDS or HIV.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, the second one was the gay rights movement. Third was the real story behind the movie Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Fourth was the upstairs lounge arson. Fifth was Fire Island. Sixth was the first ever gay pride parade. Seventh was the Pulse nightclub mass shooting. And so, yes, you're right. There are 7 episodes. This one, the eighth episode, is going to be about the Fox Hollow murders.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
I
Uh-huh.
know, Mikkel, you've most likely not heard about this case. Um, but I kind of, to help make it make sense for you, it's very it's very like a Jeffrey Dahmer without the
That's
cannibalism. That's kind
okay.
of how I can help you kind of understand. It's very similar in the sense where, you know, men in this community, and I think it was in Idaho, I
Mm-hmm.
think,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that or Indiana, might be Indiana. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, um, in the state that they were in, men going missing, police clearly weren't vigilant or cared or anything about that. So that's kind of where the similarity comes in, and it's kind of around the same time.
Right.
So, yeah, let's get into this freaking man. Okay. So,
Huh?
Herbert Richard Bausmeister,
Mm-hmm.
yep, this guy, who I'll probably just refer to as the killer moving forward because he sucks.
Mm-hmm.
He was an American businessman and suspected serial killer who came under suspicion of murdering over a dozen men in the early to mid 1990s, most of whom were last seen at gay bars in central Indiana. So there we go, I was right. Police ultimately found the remains of 11 men, 8 identified, on the killer's property. He would never answer to his crimes because he would die by suicide after a warrant was issued for his arrest because he's a coward. Since his death, he has come under suspicion for the murders of 12 other men along Interstate 70 in Indiana and Ohio, which occurred from the early 1980s to the early 1990s. Because again, similar to like a Paul Bernardo, it doesn't just start with the murders or just murders that you're more known for. Like Bernardo was the Scarborough rapist, and his case he escalated. But anyways, let's get to this killer. So again, Herb Baumeister, moving forward as the killer, was born in Indianapolis on April 7th, 1947. He was the oldest of 4 children, born to an anesthesiologist, Dr. Herbert Eugene Baumeister, and Elizabeth Baumeister. So that's his parents. Um, his childhood was reportedly normal, but he began exhibiting antisocial behavior by the onset of adolescence. Friends later recalled his urophilia and how he used to ponder what it would be like to taste human urine. That's disgusting. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've never had friends like that. I think if I had a person come up to me and tell me something as outrageous as that, I'm calling the police because what the hell is wrong with you?
Mm. Yeah.
Again, that's outside of, like, if you have a kink. If it's a kink, whatever,
Right.
but this guy goes far beyond just it being a kink. So,
Huh.
um,
Interesting.
he also enjoyed urinating on teachers' desks and playing with dead animals. Whether he killed those animals, I do not know. In his teens, the killer's behavior caused his father to have him submit to mental examinations. At least his father did something.
Hmm.
He was subsequently diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder, but did not receive further psychiatric treatment. So, what was the point
Hmm.
in doing it? In 1965, Baumeister attended Indiana University for a semester before dropping out, but returned in 1967. In 1972, he attended a semester at Butler University. As an adult, he drifted through a series of jobs marked by a strong work ethic, but also by increasingly bizarre behavior. He would then marry Julianne or Julie Sater in November 1971, a union that produced three children. Sater later said that they had been sexually intimate only 6 times in over 25 years of marriage, and that she never saw her husband nude. What the hell? I mean,
Wow.
that's odd.
Yeah, it is.
That's very odd.
Uh, Aren't you
Um,
supposed to be?
Want to have
Uh,
sex
yeah.
with
Yeah, that's what I'm
your
saying. Yeah.
partner? Yeah. I would say so.
I guess.
Um,
I guess they feel that they're not compatible, or they're not
well,
sexually attracted to each
no.
other.
No.
Oh,
I
okay.
wouldn't say it's that. Um, we don't know for sure because he didn't answer to his crime, so he obviously
Mm-hmm.
couldn't answer to anything else. But he was probably most likely a closeted gay man, which
Mm-hmm.
it would mean okay, so, like, I personally think his wife was probably his beard, meaning, if you don't know what the meaning of beard is, it's basically a gay man marrying a woman to kind of cover up the fact that he is gay. Um, so that's what I think potentially could have been the case here. To only be intimate with your partner 6 times,
Uh-huh.
um, and in your entire marriage is it's probably more of a sign that he just wasn't sexually attracted to her,
Uh-huh.
or what he needed sexually she could not provide. So I think it's
Right.
probably more about that than anything, which for me, as a woman
I see.
who has been in obviously heterosexual relationships
Mm-hmm.
and has been married, um, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't imagine only having sex with my partner only 6 times in the 20 something years that this woman was with her husband. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is that I can my brain can't compute that as a straight
Mm-hmm.
woman
All right.
in what I perceive a heterosexual relationship. So, yeah, and I'm not I'm not trying to blame her. It's just, like, to me, I'm like, "That's a red flag." So,
Huh.
anyway,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
um, so yeah, that's what she had to say.
Mm-hmm.
6 months after his marriage, Baumeister was committed to a psychiatric hospital by his father for 2 months. His wife said he was hurting and needed help. Bleh. Baumeister eventually found the successful Sav a Lot store chain in Indianapolis in 1988. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know because, like,
Uh-huh.
I don't believe she's ever said because again, would have to come from him. He's dead, so we can't get it from him. But I do think she potentially suspected that something was going on in
All
terms of
right.
his sexual preference.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, they're They are married. They have 3 kids.
Uh-huh.
They have this business that
Uh-huh.
he ran that clearly she probably was a part of. So I think, like, there's so much intertwined, and they probably
Uh-huh.
had a mutual respect. Um,
Um,
if I was her, if you wanna stay in this marriage, fine. Just just he wasn't being faithful, that's all I'm saying. Anyways,
right.
I'm going ahead here.
Yeah.
Let me get back to it. I-70 strangler, so that's where we're gonna start off with. Again, as mentioned previously, we do not know for sure if he actually is, um, responsible for those murders. I think it's something they are investigating.
Mm,
I don't know quite where that goes, but, um, yeah. Let's get
okay.
to it. So the I-70 Strangler is the nickname of an unidentified American serial killer who killed at least 11 young boys and adult men in Indiana and Ohio between June 1980 and October 1991, dumping their bodies near Interstate 70. The killer met his victims in popular gay bars and other similar establishments within a 4-block radius in Indianapolis.
Mm,
All of the victims were later found naked or partially clothed near Interstate 70, often dumped in rivers, streams, and ditches in the rural countryside. Each had
mhm,
been strangled to death. Though officially unsolved, law enforcement officially named Baumeister as a prime suspect in the case in April of 1999. According to investigators, bodies related to the Stranglers case stopped being found in 1991
mm,
after Baumeister purchased Fox Hollow Farm, which he would use as a burial site for his subsequent victims. We will get to it.
mm,
On June 16th, 1980, the body of 15-year-old male prostitute Michael Sean Petrie was discovered naked in Hamilton County, Indiana. Petrie, who spent most of his time around Indianapolis gay bars, was reported missing on June 7th, but was observed 3 days later in different parts of the city riding along in a stranger's car.
mm,
The cause
mm,
of death was established as strangulation,
mhm,
hence the moniker. No traces of drugs or alcohol were found in his blood.
uh,
On July 21st, 1982, the topless corpse of 22-year-old Maurice Allen Taylor was found in Hamilton County's Weasel Creek. While
mhm,
his cause of death was not sufficiently established, law enforcement suspected that he had been strangled. Taylor was a vagrant who lived in the boiler room of an Indianapolis apartment complex and
mhm,
offered sexual services around gay bars. So I'm seeing a little bit of a pattern here.
right.
On October 3rd, 1982, 14-year-old Delvoyd Lee Baker was found semi-nude near a river in Hamilton County. While investigating his death, authorities located witnesses who stated that Baker was last seen on the evening of October 2nd in downtown Indianapolis, climbing into a blue van driven by a young white man with a bushy mustache.
Mm,
Baker's parents told police that he had been riding his bike to the city on the night of his disappearance, from where he called home at 10:30 p.m. to inform
mhm,
them that he was going to be late because he wanted to go to the movies. It was later established that Baker had been cruising Indianapolis gay bars for the last 3 months and had been a victim of child sexual abuse, which is really, really sad.
yeah.
Um, but again, I've never, like, listen, cruising in general, um, when you're an adult was already so dangerous at the time. Again, like, I don't know what else they would have done to, you know, get what they needed out of another person, whether that's affection, sexual, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is what the gay community, mainly men, have to do,
Oh,
was cruise around. And I don't mean as literally cruising around. It's just a terminology. Um, and that's what they would have to do. And it's already was so dangerous for adult men. I don't know how I feel about a 14-year-old boy doing that as well. Cause, like, you don't
mm, mm,
have, I don't know, the triggers in your mind, I think, at 14 to be like, this person rubs me the wrong way. I'm not going to get in this person's car. Um, and then also people potentially not knowing what you're doing. I don't know, but
Right.
that's not me trying
Right.
to victim blame by any means. It's just it hurts my heart when I hear these young boys being trapped by these other men
Uh-huh.
because they're just trying to either A, figure out who they are or, just have some fun. And
Mhm.
it just breaks my heart. These people suck.
Right. Right. Right.
May 28th, 1983,
Mhm.
22-year-old Michael Andrew McRiley disappeared after visiting the Vogue Theater, an Indianapolis nightclub. He
Mhm.
was last seen with an unidentified man with whom he later left. In
Mhm.
February 1998, an Indianapolis resident contacted police and claimed that Baumeister was the man last seen with Riley. Riley's nude body was later found in a ditch in Hancock County, southeast of Greenfield, on June 5th. The autopsy determined that he had been strangled, with the perpetrator likely using a towel.
Mhm.
So, what I do want to say here before we move further on into the rest of the victims of this particular killer,
Mhm.
what you'll notice with what we will learn with the ones they do associate with him um, is the similarity between what we're hearing from these victims, what happened with these victims in
Right.
the strangler case
Right.
versus what we hear with him. There's a through line. There's a through line. So
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
I'm getting at is just based on the few we've already mentioned. I think
Right.
he probably is responsible for these.
Mhm.
That's where I'm getting at. So let me continue. On May 7th, 1985, 17-year-old Eric Allen Rotker vanished. His shirtless body was found a few days later near a stream in rural Preble County, Ohio, east of Lewisburg. According to his parents, Rotker was planning to attend interviews for a summer job on the day of his disappearance, but did not attend any of them. His friends and relatives denied that he was gay, but later research indicated that Rodger had many acquaintances who were drug addicts or traffickers. Okay, but that doesn't mean he was gay, but okay. Just means that maybe he did a drug. Okay.
Mhm.
Witnesses claim that they had seen Rutger at a bus stop in the early morning of March 7th, where he accepted a ride from a passing car. When found, Rutger had an apparent burn mark on his left shoulder and had been strangled with a rope. On August 15th, 1986, the body of a 29-year-old Michael Allen Mike Glenn, clad only in his underwear, was found in a ditch near Eaton, Ohio. He lived separately from his parents in a trailer park located on the outskirts of Indianapolis and worked as a handyman. The
Mhm.
exact date of his disappearance was not established. Strangulation marks, possibly from a rope, were found on his neck. He was identified 3 years after his discovery with the help of fingerprinting.
Mhm.
On October 15th, 1987, so literally, it's like every year or so that there's another person. It's very consistent. Um, at around 10 p.m., 21-year-old James Boyd Robbins Jr. went missing shortly after leaving his mother's home in Indianapolis and walking to the southern part of the city. 2 days later, on October 17th, his naked corpse was found in a ditch in rural Shelby County, south
Mhm.
of Gwenville. While
Mhm.
investigating his murder, police located two witnesses who gave conflicting information. One claimed that he had seen a red Jeep Wrangler Renegade near the crime scene, while another said that the car was a Chevrolet Blazer. Me personally wouldn't be able to say which is which. I would just be like, car,
Huh.
maybe red. Who
Right.
knows?
Right.
Don't ask me the type of car that potentially, like, I couldn't do that. But, anyways, on August 12th, 1989, the body of a 26-year-old Stephen Lynn Elliott, clad in his underwear, was found in Preble County, Ohio. He
Mhm.
had been
Mhm.
strangled, presumably with a rope. Elliott's father told police that when his son came out as gay in 1979, he then left the family household and became involved in prostitution, developing an alcohol addiction. Now, I feel
Mhm.
like this guy's father is maybe just glazing over the most important part.
Right.
Your son came out as gay about
Mhm,
10 years prior
mhm,
to,
mhm, mhm.
um, his death, and he just left the home to be a sex worker. No,
Right.
sir, you kicked him the fuck out, and because it goes against your religion or whatever the fuck, and
Right.
you kicked him out of his home. No one just
Mhm,
chooses
mhm,
to
mhm,
become a sex worker. Usually one chooses to become a sex worker on survival alone. He was trying
mhm.
to survive. Don't come God. Um, don't piss me off today. I don't wanna get pissed off today. Okay. On August 14th, 1990, 32-year-old Clay Russell Boatman, a licensed practical nurse, disappeared after leaving his Richmond, Indiana apartment to visit Our Place, which is a local gay bar. His body, showing signs of strangulation, was later found in a ditch by a group of children. Oh, God, children. Near Eaton, Ohio. When interviewed, Boatman's family denied that he was homosexual. Really?
Wow.
Okay. Whatever you say. If he is, he is. If he isn't, whatever. But one usually, like, if I'm gonna see anyone who is straight going to a gay
Mhm,
bar, it's
mhm,
usually
mhm,
women. I just don't see, because of how men can think and operate, I just
mhm.
don't see a quote unquote straight man going to a gay bar. Just a
Mm.
thought.
That's
That's
true.
just me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
on September 6th, 1990, 18-year-old Thomas Ray I think it's Clevenger Jr. vanished without a trace. His semi-nude corpse was later found at an abandoned railroad track near Greenville, Ohio. Clevenger grew up in a poor neighborhood of Indianapolis, and shortly before his death, he engaged in prostitution near gay bars to earn money, a fact denied by his mother and his sister. You seeing a pattern here?
Yeah.
Parents just denying that, oh, not my son. Like, so what if your son is potentially gay? Like that there are worse things. Anyway,
Wow. Yeah.
and this is not a worse thing. This is
Mhm,
perfectly fine. But anyway,
mhm, mhm,
on August 6th, 1991, the body of 42-year-old Otter Gary Becker was found in a ditch next to a gravel road in rural Henry County, Indiana. While investigating his murder, police identified several witnesses who claimed to have seen Becker in a car with another male driving north on Interstate 465 near Indianapolis. The witnesses were taken to the police station and shown photographs of various criminals convicted of kidnapping
mhm,
and murder charges in the state, but none of them was matched to the alleged abductor because he didn't have a criminal record at the time. So, so those are the victims of the I-70 strangler, who
mhm.
I do think it's him, but
Right.
now we're going to move on to the ones that have been associated to him, and that's now the Fox Hollow Farm killings, which obviously, as we've mentioned, was his property.
Right.
So let's get to that. In May 1988, Baumeister purchased Fox Hollow Farm which was an 18-acre property built in 1978 off 156th Street and I think it's Monon Trail in Westfield, Indiana. In 1994, Baumeister's son had been playing in the family's wooded backyard when he found a complete, partially buried human skeleton.
Wow.
I want you to sit with that as we move forward.
Mhm.
Baumeister explained to his family that it had been one of his father's dissecting skeletons. He had it stored in their garage before eventually burying it again in the garden. Now, I don't know what he's trying to say, if that's supposed to be like a fake skeleton or what, but whatever.
Mhm.
On June 24th, 1996, investigators recovered human bone fragments belonging to at least 11 people buried in the woods at Fox Hollow Farm. A new search on December 4th, 2022, so very recently, found one bone and identified 20 additional locations where more may be buried. Like, they're still investigating. They're not done.
Yeah.
Only 10 victims whose killings were directly linked to Baumeister have been identified since the
Mhm.
initial discovery. 3 additional remains are still unidentified, although they are all believed to be male and to have been victims of homicide. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office have appealed to the public requesting anyone with missing family members from the mid-1980s to mid-1990s in the Indianapolis area to
Mhm.
complete a DNA test in an effort to help identify the victim's remains. As of
Mm.
January 2024, forensic experts continue working in an effort to identify nearly 10,000 portions of human remains recovered from an unknown number of victims at Fox Hollow Farm.
Wow.
Think about that. That's a lot. Like
Mhm.
this him, well, I don't care about him, but his family were literally living in what I would consider a graveyard
Hmm.
of his victims. So,
Hmm.
we're going to go through some of the people who either have been identified or who they
Mhm.
suspect he could be involved with. I'm not sure exactly what list we're doing here.
Mhm.
Um, so here we go. John Lee or Johnny Bayer, who was 20, he went missing on May 28th, 1993. Jeffrey Allen, Jeff Jones, he was 31, went missing on July 6th, 1993. Richard Douglas Hamilton Jr., 20, went missing on July 31st, 1993. Alan Lee Livingston, 27, went missing on August 6th, 1993. His remains were recovered in the initial search of the farm in 1996, but remained unidentified until October 2023. He was the first victim to be identified following Hamilton County's new effort to identify more than, again, as I mentioned, 10,000 pieces of human remains.
Mm.
Daniel Thomas Halloran, he was 21 or 22, went missing sometime after March 1994, and he was identified in 2025 by forensic genetic genealogy. Stephen Sperlin Hale, he was 28, went missing on April 1st, 1994. Wayne Brassard, 28, went missing on June 6th, 1994. Roger Allen Goodlett, he was 33, went missing on July 22nd, 1994. Michael Frederick Mike Kieran, he was 45, last seen on March 31st, 1995. Manuel I think it's Resendez, he was
Right.
44,
Mhm.
last seen at a gay bar in downtown Indianapolis on August 6th, 1993, the same date that Livingston disappeared. In January 2024, the Hamilton County coroner announced the identification of remains recovered in 1996 from Fox Hollow Farms as belonging to him. And there is an additional victim. So authorities have publicly and posthumously linked the unsolved disappearance of 34-year-old Jerry Williams Calmer to Baumeister. Williams Calmer was last seen in Indianapolis on August 8th, 1995. After his disappearance, his vehicle was found at Castleton Square Mall. As a young gay man, Williams Calmer fit the profile of Baumeister's victims, despite the
Mhm.
fact that his remains were never recovered from Fox Hollow Farm. Yet,
Hmm.
maybe he is in one of those pieces that they haven't identified.
Mm.
Okay, so that's the victims. We still got more to go. We got identification, we got the investigation, and we still haven't
Mhm.
talked about the death. So, by the early 1990s, investigators with the Marion County Sheriff's Department and the Indianapolis Police Department began investigating the disappearances of gay men of similar age, height, and weight in the Indianapolis area. In 1994, they were contacted by a man named Tony Harris, who claimed that a gay bar patron calling himself Brian Smart, not so frickin' smart, had likely killed Harris's friend Roger Goodlett. Harris's suspicion was based on his own encounter with quote unquote Smart, who had attempted to kill him with a pool hose during an erotic asphyxiation session inside his mansion after he had met him at the 501 Club, an Indianapolis gay bar. Okay.
Mm. Yeah.
I want to stop here for a second
Yeah. Okay.
because the similarity with the fact that we have a person who was able to live to tell the tale very similar to one of, well, not the kid, but the last victim of Jeffrey Dahmer, who he could have killed, but he got away. And like just the heroism of these two men, though I will say, I have I haven't watched the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will now that I'm doing this episode so we could talk about
Right.
it.
Right.
But um I do know that he might be garbage, but I have to watch the documentary for myself to kind of feel him out.
Mhm.
So check back later. But I from what I just know, it's just like the similarities between these two cases and the fact that they were like literally happening around the same time. And I'm not sure where Indiana is in proximity to Wisconsin, but
Mhm.
sorry, like geography's not my thing. But
Mhm.
it's just very interesting. I guess is the only word that I could use to say this. And I do want to say because I mentioned erotic asphyxiation,
Uh-huh.
which is basically like choking or maybe a little more than that. Um, totally
Yeah.
okay if consented by two
Yeah.
adults. It's whatever. So just want to say that part too. Okay,
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Harris eventually saw this man again in August 1995, following his car and noting his license plate number. So I think it was Harris that noted his license plate number. Upon identifying quote unquote Brian Smart as Herb Baumeister,
Mhm.
sorry, go ahead.
No, no, I didn't say anything. Go.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Keep going. Keep going.
Investigators informed him that he was a suspect in the disappearances and asked to search his house. Both Baumeister and his wife refused to allow a search of the property. Well, guess what? We're going to go get a little thing we call a search warrant, then try to stop us. But, anyways, I hope they do. We'll see what they say.
Yeah.
By June 1996, however, Julie had become sufficiently frightened by her husband's erratic behavior that after filing for divorce, because duh, they've only had sex 6 times, kind of weird, that alone, she consented to a search. The search of the estate was conducted while Baumeister was on vacation. It turned up the remains of 11 men, 8 of whom were identified at that time.
Mm.
With a warrant out for his arrest, Baumeister fled to, check this shit, Ontario. Why'd you gotta come here for?
Uh,
So take that into account. He fled to Ontario. So where do you think he kills himself? He had to come here and kill himself.
wow.
Asshole. But anyways, let's continue.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he ended up committing suicide at Pinery Provincial Park on
Uh,
Lake Huron by shooting himself in the head with a 357 Magnum handgun because he's a coward. And guilty if I say so myself because who does
yeah.
what
Yeah.
innocent man does that?
Yeah. Definitely sounds a little guilty on.
Oh, a little. I think a lotta. Um
Huh.
so Baumeister left a 3-page suicide note written on yellow notepaper.
Mm-hmm.
He regretted messing oh my god. Okay. I think he put this in the note that he regretted messing up the park. He wrote and felt badly about his broken marriage and failing business, but
Mm-hmm.
he did not mention the remains of the victims or admit to any crime. Are you fucking kidding me? I am so sorry. I'm messing up your park. But those bodies over there, I got nothing to say. Like, what is you can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
Okay. Baumeister described items on his trip, including his intention to kill himself in a different place, but seeing children there. Um, he, hold on, where am I? Seeing children there had changed his mind. How gracious. His final meal was a peanut butter sandwich. That's really sad. God, even inmates in prison get better last meals than that.
Yeah. They
Ugh.
do.
Anyways, so basically, that's that's the Fox Hollow murders. And like I said, like it's
Mm-hmm.
I do know that it's still ongoing.
Mhm.
The documentary, I'm pretty sure, was from last year, I believe. So,
Where's the documentary at? Like, is it
documentary is Hulu, so you
oh,
can
okay.
obviously get access to it on Disney Plus.
Right.
So that's where it is. So yeah, I think what I'll probably do, as I've said,
Mhm.
um, I'll probably watch it. Um, then again, the screen take
Yeah.
episode would have been before this one.
Uh-huh.
So you're
Right.
either going to know if I did or
Yeah.
didn't. But
Right.
we'll still talk about it.
Yeah.
And if I do go into any details, I will snip that out and put it at the end of this episode so that I'm not spoiling it over there. The
Okay.
episode here. That's
Alright.
what I'll say.
Alright.
Um,
Stay
so
tuned for
yeah,
that. Yeah.
but that's it.
Alright.
But I will be putting this section in our episode tomorrow because I don't want
Mhm.
to spoil that one. Is
Yeah.
the Fox Hollow murders. So I did watch it.
Hmm.
um, there's a lot that I didn't talk about that I forgot about, but I won't say every little nitty gritty
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
this. But Mark Goodyear, he is the guy that I mentioned at the end of our coverage yesterday or whatever day we did it. Um, that was the lone survivor and who went to the police and said this happened to me. He lied to the police. He wasn't attacked. He was not
Mhm.
attacked by him. He was actually in a relationship, he says, or if you want to say that, with her Baumeister for 2 years.
Wow.
He says, "Oh, he was stalking me, so I had to be in some kind of relationship with him." We obviously can't get any information from her Baumeister. He is dead, as we said, but that's very interesting. But people really questioned because they're one of the victim's sisters actually worked for her Baumeister at the thrift store that we said they had and said he was an odd man. He didn't really have a lot of communication skills. She highly doubted that her brother would get into a car with him. So their questioning was, well, did he have an accomplice? They believe, but there isn't a lot of evidence to say it, so this is just allegedly. They allege that maybe Mark Goodyear was involved
Hmm.
in these murders. At least the murders at Fox Hollow. I cannot talk about the I-70 one, I'm not sure. But interestingly enough, though, Mark Goodyear did say that Herb Baumeister told him that he murdered 56 people. So that could tie in with the I-70 murderer. So but yes, the gist of it is they believe or they think or allegedly that Mark Goodyear could have been involved. He seemed real happy to be in that house again because they actually
Mhm.
had him in there to kind of tour the house and kind of give some information. He just looked real at home, real comfortable.
Mm.
Um, he said that in terms of like, because we talked a little bit about that Herr Baumeister would potentially drug these men in order to
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
full advantage over them to do the auto asphyxiation. Um, Mark Goodyear was like, "Well, I drugged him." But then,
Wow.
like, he woke up and blah, 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 and they're like, "He woke up from being drugged." He's like, "Well, he was only out for, like, 40 minutes." He's if anything, y'all, if you watch anything to do with this documentary, you need to watch that guy. He's
Hmm.
insane. Never seen anything like
Wow.
it before. He's insane. Anyway, so, yeah, if anything, just
Mm.
watch him and his mannerisms, and I don't know whether or not
Mhm.
he was involved. Because the thing is that they're thinking, like, someone had to lure these men in. They really truly
Right.
don't think that Herb Baumeister had the charisma to lure other men in. So,
Mhm.
I don't know. I
Hmm.
really, truly don't. Do I think that It's interesting too. At one point, someone actually went to the police saying that he was at, I think, the Fox Hollow Farms and said,
Mhm.
I was there. Some and Mark Goodyear was there. Some guy came out in a mask and was doing some weird performance type thing. There was another guy there as well. And the person wearing the mask pointed the gun at the other guy and shot him multiple times and then
Wow.
turned the gun on this person, but then, like, he took off or whatever.
Did they have a reason? That's kind of like weird
Did it
to
hurt my by master if he really
wow.
truly did these killings? He didn't have a reason to kill him at all.
Wow.
So, but the thing is that they were saying here is that Mark Goodyear was present.
Mhm.
So when confronted with it, Mark Goodyear's like, "Well, are you sure? Can't be the same guy. I don't think it's the same guy." And blah blah blah. Like he's basically trying to like make it seem like one minute he's saying, "Oh yeah, like I know him. My partner knows. Like he's married. Like his husband knows him." Blah blah blah. And and then all of a sudden when the story comes out,
Uh-huh.
he's well, he's not very credible. He's on drugs and all this. Like he's trying to
Huh.
play it down, but it's like, but you seem to think he was fine up until
Uh-huh.
you heard the
Uh-huh.
story. So it's interesting. I don't know. Do I
Hmm.
think that he knows more than he's saying at the very
Mhm.
least? Do I think he's involved with these murders? Hard to say.
Mm.
I don't know. But I do find it very interesting. That's
Hmm.
all I can say
Yeah.
about it. Um, the other part too that I didn't talk about that I completely forgot about was the mannequins. He had mannequins in his pool area where he would do commit these crimes.
Mhm.
He had a mannequin at the bar, he had a mannequin in the pool, he had a mannequin all over because it was the basement and the pool was in the basement. He had mannequins all over the goddamn place. I completely forgot about the mannequins, but he had access to these mannequins because of the thrift store. And
Hmm.
apparently at the thrift store, he would even have the mannequins, like, all over the place. Very Dahmer,
Hmm.
very Dahmer, because he
Interesting.
also had a weird mannequin fetish at one point as
Yeah.
well. So, it's very weird.
Hmm.
But,
Yeah. Yeah. It is very weird.
but
Only. Yeah.
that's kind of what I gathered mainly from the documentary. Of course, there's so much more, but,
Yeah.
I'll kinda just do, like, the key parts. I don't wanna talk about the Mark Goodyear of it all, and, that
Mhm.
was the main
Mhm.
reason for me watching it. Uh,
Okay. All right.
but yeah, again, because I know we mentioned about, whether or not you wanted to identify anybody, you had to, like, pay for it. There is
Mhm.
a team that's kind of working on trying to get it done, um, and I hope at no expense to the families, um, because they believe, like, police bungled this investigation.
Mhm.
Um, these people deserve
Definitely.
to have their families back.
Mhm.
So they're trying to do their part in trying to identify these victims, and they're still doing it, like I mentioned. Um, and this documentary is from last year, so they're still doing what they can, which is good.
Hmm. All right. Okay. All right. Thank you for the seventh episode.
Mhm.
So, sorry,
Eighth,
eighth
eighth.
episode. Sorry, apologize of our special Pride Month.
We have
Uh,
one more,
we have one more
one more
episode,
to go,
guys.
and I'm really excited to do this.
You said you're excited for
Yeah,
this.
excited about the
Okay.
last one.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
we'll talk about
Oh,
it next.
okay. All right. All right. I hope you guys liked that episode. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, next. Uh, I think what I've decided is you're probably gonna get the second part of the bonus episode,
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. So that's
Stay
when you'll
tuned.
see us tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Peace,
All right.
guys.
Bye. If you liked what you heard with our podcast, you can head on over to our website, which is solo.to/next take podcast. There you can get any of the links to any of our social media, which is Facebook, Instagram at Next Take Podcast, and Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at Next Take Pod. You can also find links to our Reddit page and many other things, I'm sure. Can't remember all off the top of my head. You can also email us at mikeltanyka@gmail.com. There you can send us any inquiries if you have, any questions, or also any episode ideas. And if you do have episode ideas, just make sure you put in the subject line episode ideas, and we'll add it to our list. If you also liked us, you can like us, rate us, follow us on any of your favorite podcast apps. You can rate us, however, on Spotify and Apple Podcast. We would greatly appreciate that. And we'll also move forward and share or spot a light on those who give us 5-star ratings in the future. That is it for us. We'll see you next time for the episode.